So each and every month when we are making these investment decisions, we ensure that if we are buying certain assets to come into these portfolios, we ensure that we do not exceed the limits that have been set by the regulator. What that means is at the end of the day, we are minimizing our exposure, that even in the event of any loss, we'll be able to mitigate that loss. We're not just dependent on the regulator doing that check for us. As Nabo Capital, we do frequent and more than frequent checks on our investment portfolios to ensure that number one, we do not exceed the limits required by the regulator, but number two, we ensure that we manage the risk of all these portfolios. What that means is if we know that, for example, to invest in a certain fund, we have X and Y allocations to these various assets, we do frequent checks each and every time to check, are we making the right decisions? Have we allocated the right amounts to these investments? And number three, is the risk well captured and well taken care of? Okay, so that's what we do when it comes to safeguarding your money. And not only that, another thing you need to know is that there is a trustee, and a trustee, what the trustee does, they act with the interests of the investors. So this means that with each and every quarter, the trustee will come and say, so how are the investments performing? What are their locations? Where have you invested? What is the risk? What's the analysis? What are you looking towards? So even beyond our own internal checks, our own robust internal checks, there are also internal checks, external checks that are being done by the trustees to ensure that we are acting and serving the purposes of the client. Another thing you need to understand is that there is a custodian. What a custodian does is to ensure that all the amounts that you send to us as Nabo Capital does not just come to our portfolios or our accounts, but goes directly to the custodial accounts. So that ensures that none of the monies that you send comes into our accounts to mitigate that risk. So the custodian will be the one who has custody of those funds. And for us is that when we want to make an investment decision or we want to make an investment buy or sell, we will now ask or request or instruct the custodian to place the amount of money to the various investment opportunities that we've been able to identify in the market. And at any given point when a client wants to redeem the funds, the instructions come to us, but it's the custodian who's going to process the funds to your accounts. So at any given moment for us is to act in good faith and ensure that the amounts of money that you've trusted us with, we get to invest it prudently and ensure that at the end of the day we generate the return that you're looking towards to earn. All right, and that's for the safety of your funds. And I know that's a critical point for you as a client, because how safe is my money with you guys? For how long have you been there? And if I'm gonna be honest with you, our track record over the past 10 years has proven time and time and again that we have our clients' interests at heart. We ensure that at the end of the day, every decision we make is focused on ensuring that the funds of the client are well managed, are well placed, and are well invested into the right opportunities and right assets that are there for you. We also assess the risk. Is this risk worth the return we want to get? And if the risk is not worth the return, we do not get into such positions. Because at the end of the day, remember, you have a plan. You're looking forward to actualizing this plan, and that also helps us ensure that we make prudent investment decisions for your portfolio. Last but not least, why Nabo? I want to help you understand something as an investor, because I'm seeing you as an investor. When it comes to investments, there are different kinds of returns. There are ideally 3 types of return, and I just want to walk you through them. So for the first one, this is what we call a capital gains return. Okay, and so how a capital gain works is if I bought an investment asset at say 100,000 shillings and I sell it after a certain period of time at 120,000 shillings, it means that I've made a capital gain of 20,000 shillings. All right, and say for example, if that asset was a bond and when you bought it, they said that you're going to get frequent interest payments of a certain amount, say 15,000 shillings every 6 months. That's what we're going to call an interest gain. Or if it's another asset such as a stock or an equity, it's going to be a dividend. So it's going to be an interest or a dividend gain, which ideally applies to everyone. But there's a third one that you might not be aware of or probably you've heard of, and that's a forex gain. What's a forex gain? Basically means a foreign exchange gain, and this is our value proposition now to you with what we have as our USD or the US dollar denominated assets. Let me paint a picture for you. At the beginning of the year, the shilling to the dollar was at around 120, just giving a ballpark figure. As at the time of recording this video, it's at around 150 something. So there's one thing you'll notice, that if you had this dollar and then it was worth 120 shillings, right now it's around 150, for example. Okay, and so you'll realize that with this investment asset, you made a capital gain for the assets that we had bought and sold as an investor. Okay, and there were also interest and dividend payments that came from the various assets that we invested in. All right, and now not only to mention that, but now the forex gain comes in, whereby if you were to change or convert this US dollar to Kenya shillings, you've made much more money simply by the virtue of that forex gain. That's our value proposition to you. So I know at times you might sit down and you know that probably have some few dollars lying here or there, or you want to preserve the value of your currency. And just to paint a picture on how that works is, remember, number one, the USD is a reserve currency. So it means that it pretty much governs everything that happens in the economies of the world. So if at any given moment the US dollar strengthens, it means that it increases in value. And that increase in value, now when it comes to you as the client, you'll get to realize that I am gaining much more if I was to stick to this USD. All right, so we have USD assets that are available to you as our customer. And what that means is, at the end of the day, and which I know is one of your greatest needs and desires, is to preserve the value of your money. So I want to ask you, do you have some USD dollars lying around? Or even more so, do you have some Kenya shillings that you would want to invest in US dollars to ensure that you're able to capture the market movements taking place in the investment markets? At times I know, even for me as an investor, I know that when it comes to looking at all these macroeconomic numbers, research and everything, can be a bit hard to explain or even hard to grasp. Remember what I told you when we were starting? That ours is to help you think like an investor, to help you reason as an investor, and to help you act as an investor. So if you come and you say that I want to invest in the USD denominated assets, we walk you through, we help you understand what does it mean from an economic level, how does it pan out, and what are our outlooks with regards to USD denominated assets. And so at the end of the day, you'll get to realize that if you started with 1,000 USD at the beginning of the year, say in our fixed income fund, which by the way is one of our best performing in the market, you'll get to realize that you have made capital gains by the time you're selling that investment asset. Remember, you've also made interest or dividend returns from that particular asset or assets. And number three, you've made a forex gain from that particular asset. So think about that. That's your greatest value add, because you're benefiting from what most people are not able to benefit from. And remember, even for your plan, you can still do it in the US dollar. All for us, we just need to do is, where do you want to get to? What do you have to start? And what do you want to do each and every month, for example, to ensure that you get to that goal? All in all, there's so much that I can tell you about us as Nabo. But I want to give you a challenge. Come, just give us a try. Just show up. You can find us here at our offices at 5th Floor International House, or even on call or email. Just reach out and say, I want to engage with you people and just understand what it is you do and what you can do to help me get to where I want. Remember, at the end of the day, ours is to help you as a client achieve what you want to achieve with the products that we have to offer. We help you walk that journey and ensure that you get to the end goal that you've set for yourself. So call us, reach out to us, text us on all social media platforms, and there's someone who's going to respond to you and they're going to help you start your investment journey. My name is Teddy Muzoka, part of the Nabo team, and this is Nabo Capital.
That's what we do here at Nabo. I encourage you to go back. We have a wealth of videos that have been done before. Share this video with someone who needs it. And also remember to leave us a comment. And if you have any questions, just leave it behind and we'll tackle it in the next video. Thank you and God bless you.